Is a one chunk house just not big enough for you? I've got a 4 chunk house here with a world download so you can come and play with it yourself. Multiple levels, great exterior design. Don't you go anywhere. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on what time you're watching this next episode from me, Avomance, in my house tutorial series. Today, we're taking on a bit of a big one. We are going to go for a 4 chunk house. I have cleared out this blooming great big square here. Look, I'm flying like Superman. And that is where we're going to build our house. I am not allowed outside those orange lines. The orange lines are actually outside the area. If I put F3 and G, you can see the chunk borders are exactly as per those orange lines. So we are not going outside those. I don't have to use up all the space, but I do have to use up most of the space otherwise. Well, frankly, what is the point? And things like, like landscaping, etc., can come beyond these borders because that's not the house. It's the house itself that has to be within this 4 chunks. Massive. We should be able to do something incredible with this, he says, with his thumb in his mouth. Let's crack on. So I wanted to make sure that this house had some really nice exterior decorating, but also the detail on the multiple roof areas have got to be absolutely spot on. It's a really tall house with a great chimney, but I think it turned out pretty well. Let me show you how I made it. As normal, we are going to freestyle this build, but I think we are going to be playing with this palette, fairly standard looking palette, but I'm going to be adding to it in a few different ways as well, I think, making some different textures coming from it and perhaps some different shapes. Let's see how it goes as we move along. Let's crack on. I've marked out this interesting windy shape on the floor. I've left myself a bit of a gap outside of the house to give a little bit of landscaping and some overhang. I'm a little bit concerned about the left hand side, but I can't go any less in than that, otherwise it will look really odd. So we'll have to make sure that we don't go too mad there, but I think this could work. The golden rule of house building is depth, so you've got to make sure you're bringing some columns outside of this area. So as you've got still got the wall along that side, still got the wall along that side. That's been counted, so it's a nice odd number. Odd numbers tend to work for me. And we're going to build up the columns, and we may replace some of these columns with other material. I'm just doing it with wood for now to get a feel for where we want to be. I'm starting with 3 high, and then we'll start to build them up a little bit further than that. 1 frame done. Now we've got to put a little bit of wall in just to check that the frame does actually work. And once we've done that, we'll probably start thinking about roofs. We're happy with the size and shape of this now, so I've put the dimensions on the screen. These are the dimensions of the wall, not the frame. The frame goes outside. Pause the video if you want to take those down and follow along the tutorial. Also, there is a world download, so if you want to download the world and play around with it, you go for your life. We've got a 2 high block wall simply because we want to start to build those windows in so as I can position those windows. Not every wall has got one, but you can see we've got them not necessarily in the middle, slightly offset in some instances, in the middle in others. Sometimes it's nice just to change it up a little bit and have the windows not quite all the same. And we've also put the beginnings of the gables on here too. So some of these gables are going to extend higher, some of them will be lower. We need to change the heights and make it a little bit more interesting. Now what I want to do is to start to decide where the second level is going to go, how high it's going to go, and as a result of that height, where the next lot of roof is going to be. So these individual roofs are going to merge into the wall there, but that'll have another level of roof coming up there too. So this one is going to be interesting because the roof stops there on that side, but it doesn't stop on this side. Not sure how we're going to work that. We've set out the roof style now, and we're going to rough these roofs up a little bit because they're a little bit too regular. I'm not so keen on the regularity. We've got a couple of side gables coming out there, little dormers. And what we're now going to do, you can see we've got the shape of the house is starting to be dictated by the roofs themselves. So we can continue up with some of these walls anyway, but here the wall has to come down and around and have effectively the roof coming up off the back of the wall. So we're going to start to build those in now, and I've got to think about whether or not we're going to lap these across the beams like that, which is quite possible, but we need to trim off the edges of the beams. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these walls upwards like that, and that will dictate the wall inside. I can then bring in where the floors are going to come in, because we need to have a second floor, definitely, almost certainly around about in line with this ring of beams here, and we'll take it from there. So I'll get a bit more done. I'm experimenting with white concrete. I think it might turn out all right. The house will end up looking a little more Tudor-like than I'd envisaged to start off with, but actually, I'm just going to finish this row and I'm just going to take a bit of a step back because a moment ago it started to look fab, but things can change. Literally, one row can make it look less fab. So let me just get this around because obviously I need to taper this out, not with the concrete, but with some kind of roofage on this second floor at some point. But if I come up here, I could see this potentially could look really quite nice. I like it. The roofs obviously need to come in towards it, but I think if we can somehow make these pillars continue, perhaps it's got potential, people. I think this one might just work. The shape is starting to come. Now you can see it's a really unusual shaped house, this one, but I quite like the fact it's quite unusually shaped because it gives it a bit more character. Lots of curves and lots of roofs and all that kind of stuff. Tiny little bits of roof alongside big long bits of roof. It makes for a really interesting shape. I'm going to carry on. We've brought in this final level, and this is going to be the final level just here. Just one step in, otherwise it was too long and flat and straight up and down, and it just did not remotely work. So I've just got to create what's effectively a white tower in the middle, sort of, and that will hopefully it'll bring us to a natural end for the roof. If you can see what I mean there, it's coming up like that, and then we'll put probably a 4-directional roof on top of that, just to avoid any kind of bias in one or other direction. So it'll have effectively 4 apexes in each of the cardinal points. So I'll crack on. I'll be back when I've finished that bit. Is it just me, or does it look a bit like a church? All the roofing is finished with the walls coming up. I like the way that white wall works. We need to put some detail on it, probably Tudor-esque style of detailing just to break it up, otherwise it's going to be too much white. We need to finish off that gable end and close that up in some way, not entirely sure. Same with that, and we've got a challenge here. We're going to make this into some kind of veranda, I think. We also need to bring these walls up to meet the top wall. I think we're getting there. I think what I'm going to do here, so this is between the two front doors there, I'm going to stick in a chimney that goes right the way up. That goes up to that large roof, and that large roof could do with a bit of detail. So I think if I can put a chimney breast in here, that would probably do the trick. So if I come in here and I duplicate those at the back, it does make these posts a little flat against there. I might do something with that in a moment. I can take those out and get rid of those, breast that up, and then create a grate kind of around that sort of area, and we can build this up so as it comes up to the top. I think that should work. Pop that in there like that, that like that, that like that. So you can see, and we'll just build up this chimney breast. We'll come across, have I got, yes I do. We'll come across there, and that will be the opening. So I'm going to continue that up. We'll make it a little bit more fancy, probably sideways like that. We can't come out any further because it will obstruct the sides. But if we continue up like that, right up to the top, that will act as actually a nice feature that can go up further. Maybe even create a double fireplace, one on that level, one on the next level as well, which might be quite nice. Continue the walls up, and I think at that point we'll probably be fine. I've created the platform here for this outside area. We're doing a wood floor at the moment, but that might change. And as a result, we've got this additional post that's coming up and creating the support and giving a little bit more extra detail and breaking up that white wall, which was really, really quite important. So I'm going to carry on building up these walls. I'm going to put on the outside of here, upside down. Have I got it? We're going to use some upside down stairs over the windows. We won't do it on the underside of the windows, though we could do that in the future on some of them, but I want to put in some kind of window sillage on that, so there's not really any point in a, breaking that out like that. That doesn't make any sense. So we're going to carry these walls up, make sure the windows are trimmed over the top with steps, and I'll be back when I've done that. The one thing I do have to do is build this up on the outside, I realised. Otherwise, when I take out the wall, it's just going to stick out the back of the house, which will look ridiculous. So I'm going to need to fancy that up somehow there. But it does come up this way rather nicely, actually. And if we pop that like this and this kind of deal, then we can get a chimney stack that goes right up kind of to the roof and comes up around here, that I think will look quite attractive at the end. If we pop that there and just kind of keep going up like that, it'll kind of intersect and take out this little edge of the roof, but not so much that it takes away or detracts from its design, but will act as a chimney, and we'll make it a working chimney. We'll stick some smoke coming out of that as well. I think it will look fabulous. So I'm just going to carry on with that too, and we'll get there. That doesn't look right, does it? Let's pop that there like that, and we'll get there in a moment. A bit like that. That's going to need to come up a little bit higher, but at least we've got the tower there. So I've enclosed that little space there underneath that patio area on top, just simply because it didn't quite work if it was open, frankly. So now what I need to do is I need to bring in this first floor, debating whether or not we cut the chimney breast in half and have a second floor with the chimney as a second level. I think it might work. So I'm very, very strongly moving in that direction. But I need to get a floor in without a doubt. And we're just going to extend these half slabs across at this level, at least at this level on this side. We may change up the levels a little bit as we go up, because what I don't want is there to be a disjoint as to where the white ends and the stone begins. And I don't know whether or not we've got enough stone yet, or whether it needs to go up another level. Quite often with these kind of big houses, you can get away with having a second level that kind of steps up. So this area here has actually got a higher ceiling level than that area there. I don't need to block that off. Not sure. So I'm just going to play around with it. Create this level here at the moment. It might be that we just keep it at a single level. It might be that we step it up. I'm just going to crack on. So I decided to fill it all in and not have a mezzanine, at least on this level. And now we've got the additional challenge of how are we going to make access to these different areas here. So what I want to do, I don't want to have loads of wide open space, definitely not, but neither do I want it to be, really enclosed at the same time. So I'm filling in the walls kind of a bit, and as long as I've not blocked myself in too much, see, like that, that's quite blocky in here, isn't it? And we don't want those there. That doesn't really work. So we can put that there like that and like that. That there like that. Do we want, actually no, we want that there and there. So that creates that open space there to come here. So that's another little additional room type thing. We've got that there. We've created a nice open space on this side, but it kind of needs to be finished off a little so as the sides match. Why have I got all there? That's bizarre, isn't it? So it comes across, down, down, two downs, and then it creates a wall. Why have I got that like that? Hang on, I've got to investigate this. What's happened there? Ah, I've got my little gable there, innit? That's why. How am I gonna make that look pretty? I don't know. Let's put that there like that. That in there like that. How's that? Bit rubbish. No, it's not. I can make that look. I can make that look cool. I can make that look cool later. Don't worry about that. Which means I can then come in here, and that is then equal, right? Does that look equal? 1, 2, 3. Yep, that looks perfectly equal there. This is a little bit weirdo, but maybe we'll do something with that in a moment. And then I just kind of need to keep running the wall along, so as we don't lose out on. That's another gabley bit there, isn't it? I got a bit gable-tastic, didn't I, for a little while? There we are. So that can do that. We can then block that off like that, that like that, that like that. Doesn't matter, that's a step. So that's all even there. That can come out. And again, these just look a little bit weird now, don't they? So what if we do that and that? How does that work? That might work all right. And if I just finish off this wall. Oh, it's gone dark all of a sudden. Finish off that wall there. That would end up being like that anyway. So we're starting to... What's through there? Oh, right. Yeah, that's that, isn't it? Probably want an entrance on this side as well. Otherwise, that gets confusing. So we've got a double entrance there. That's quite nice. I like that. The walls are more or less complete. Let's do that. That needs to go there. So, yeah, so the upstairs is all very white. The downstairs is all very stony. I think we're getting onto it. We need to finish off this. This is going to have a secondary fireplace put in there. That's dead easy to make. I'll do that. I think we're getting there. I need to replace where these little odd bits of wood are kind of sticking out instead of the white. In fact, that probably is going to end up getting turned into stone, isn't it? Yeah, it will. So I'm going to carry on with this. I'll be back in a bit. So what I've done is, you've seen we've done this first set of steps up here. I've continued the wooden pillars up quite a long way, in fact. I've continued wooden pillars so as they can give us a couple of levels. They're more access levels than they are living levels. So, and I need to light them up obviously, but this gives us access to this area here that we can perhaps do something with. We've got the mezzanine that I was talking about just there. I might come out one more actually here. And that way we can create a bit of a barrier that connects to the wall and the wall, and that gives us a little bit more extra space. I'm happy with that. That's a nice little mezzanine. And then if you come around this way, we come up again, which gives us access to the tower, and I will devise some ridiculously clever way of getting up to another platform at the top of the tower. It might be ridiculously clever in the form of a ladder or something like that. Often towers get accessed by ladders. It kind of loft ladder makes sense to me. Anyway, I'll come back and do that in a bit. This also is going to give us the opportunity to potentially put some windows into these big white walls, because these big white walls are massive and I think we need to do something with them. So that's the plan. It's coming on all right. I need to do something with these ends here. I don't want them all open. Some of them are going to remain open, but I'm not want them all open. Some of them are just going to become maybe viewing rooms with a bit of a glass kind of effect. Not sure. So let's just crack on, because I also want to get the outside done. We're nearly at the end of this, believe it or not. Right, so we've got some windows into those walls. We've added all of the gable endeds on. We've increased that chimney right up to the maximum level. It doesn't need to go any higher than that, otherwise it'd just be too high. We still need to detail the walls a little bit. We need to detail those windows, definitely. And we need to do some bits and pieces on the inside. And we need to landscape it. So it sounds like there's a lot to do, but in reality, I think we're nearly there. We've added a bit more external decoration just using dark wood. So we've got dark wood trapdoors, dark wood steps, dark wood slabs, all kind of brought together with a few dark wood fences as well to give that not quite Tudor look, but to maybe give a little bit of texture on those walls. We're going to do a bit more, and then we're going to do a lot more external decoration because this thing looking still a little bit bland. Let's crack on. Now we are pretty much done. I'm not an internal specialist. You guys, however, definitely are. I've seen some of your work. I've left this, relatively speaking, quite bare, although I will give you a quick tour around, because I'm going to leave a world download in the description below. It'll be fabulous if you do some amazing interior here. Maybe send me a picture or something like that on Twitter or on my email. Links are in the description below. That would be fabulous. But anyway, so we got the downstairs. I've lit it up, obviously, because I wouldn't go as far as to not light it up. I've put in a little bit of an enchanting setup and a potion setup. And obviously, as I said, we've got our fireplace. We've got our little holding pen here where we do loads of processing. And upstairs, first upstairs we've got is... again, our second fireplace. We've got another portal that I haven't lit yet because I didn't want any pigmen coming in. They're very annoying. We've got our veranda, which is quite nice there. We've got a bedroom, literally beds and storage. That's all you need really, isn't it? And then up to the next level, We have got a mezzanine level there with a stop so you can't fall over. We've got a nice little cubby hole here that you can see out over the sea. That'd be quite nice maybe for a little easy chair and just sit there looking out over the sea. Coming down and going up another level, and we have got walking up to the clock tower. I decided not to go up any further than this because I thought it might spoil the view. So however, maybe you'd want to increase it, I don't know. But what I have done is I've done some work on the outside because I do like doing outside work. We're going to go out the back first, out of this back door like this. So I'm just going to fly, it's probably best. So that is the back garden, little winding path coming from both back doors there, going past a little field with a light source, some nice bushes, and going off into the distance so you can wander off into the savannah out of the back of the house. We've got some more bushes, a little pumpkin and melon patch there as we come around the house. And at the front, we have got a little more detail. So we've got a nice big wheat field with our little pond, plenty more bushes again. I've kept those flowers that were there when the world spawned in. That's how they landed, so we just kept them. A little bit more in the way of crops there, a nice winding path going out towards the sea, and then under here we've got a nice trellis that's got plenty of growth going over the top of it, and a path going off in this direction as well. The house itself, we have put plenty of dark oak detail on this because the dark oak offsets against the oak logs and also the white so very beautifully. We've roughed up the roofs a little bit because they're just a little bit dull when you have them just as standard up and down. So we've roughed them up, just putting some little dents and bumps in them. And we've put up at the top of the chimney here, you can see we actually put another campfire not too far down because basically the smoke didn't reach the chimney is that tall. And altogether, I think for a 4-chunk house, that has come out rather nicely. I have to confess that about halfway through this freestyle build, I was worried we were going to build an absolute squib, but it has turned out really, really well. I'm really, really pleased with the way it's come out. I would love to see what you can do with it. Go down to the world download this world and make it yourself and get that interior going, maybe adapt the outside. I'd love to see how you change it to make it your own style. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying it, and I will keep on making them. And also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see you in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.